On today's show, we look into one restaurant that is bringing a little bit of Detroit into Prosper. And we see how two siblings made a splash at the state meet this past weekend. These stories and more on this edition of Hilltop News. What's rockin' Rock Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Hilltop News. Live from Studio 1060, I'm Kyla Lewis.
And I'm Brandon McVay.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely feeling 22 because today is Tuesday, 2/22/2022. Now we have a great show in store for y'all today, but first Brandon's going to catch you up on everything going on around the Hill. Brandon?
Thanks, Kyla. Coming up next Monday, auditions for Rock Hill's second annual talent show will be held. If you'd like to participate, you can schedule your audition by scanning the QR code on your screen or filling out the form sent to your emails. The auditions will last from 4:15 to 7:30, and they will be held in the choir room. The official challenge show will be Thursday, March 24th in the auditorium. On Friday, February 25th, theater is hosting the UIL one-act play performance, Sweet Science of Bruising, at 6:30 in the auditorium. Tickets cost $5 for general admission, but the performance does contain some mature content. Now, as Black History Month comes towards an end, the Black Student Union has put together a week of dress-up days, beginning with today as Best of the Soul Train and 60s and 70s Day. Tomorrow is 90s Day, Thursday is Historically Black Colleges and Universities or College Day, and lastly, Friday is Unity Day, so wear black. Also, Black Student Union is holding a mental health panel right now to discuss the importance of mental health in teens.
Black History Month isn't the only time African American history is highlighted. Julio Zapata looks into one class that is dedicated to just that.
There are always parts of history in every culture that should be remembered in some way. African American Studies is a class that dedicates towards Black history and the missing pieces left behind.
It's a really interesting class. I wanted to join personally because I wanted to learn about my history. You know, being in Prosper, we don't get to learn a lot about African Americans and the goodness that they've done. We've mostly seen like slavery and what's going on and how bad we've gotten treated, but nobody's told us like really about our heroes.
I think I've learned a lot in this class. I've learned about, my history, obviously. I think it tells me a part of me that I felt like I was missing.
This class doesn't only focus on the people that we already know. For Mr. Nickens, he shines the light on the forgotten people who played a major role for the Black community.
Everyone's enjoying it. They really enjoy it. They're learning a lot. They're learning a lot what they didn't know. We're not going to focus, this class doesn't focus on the Frederick Douglasses and the Martin Luther Kings, the ones that they normally get from K through now, right? We focus on the lesser known people who had a very, very important roles in American history, and they just happen to be African Americans.
Everyone has experienced some sort of struggles in their lives. However, African American Studies also explains why these problems shouldn't be compared based on the skin color of a person or their background.
I think we'll really see that everyone has the same struggles and the same background and history and the same heritages. And we're just human at the base of it all. We just happen to be divided sometimes by the pigment in our skin, but our stories are very similar.
African American Studies has brought many people closer towards their history and what should be remembered. For Hilltop News, I'm Julio Zapata.
As of next year, African American Studies will be changed from an elective credit to a history credit.
Sunday marked the closing of the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. The United States finished fourth in medal count, obtaining 8 gold medals, 10 silver medals, and 7 bronze medals, making that 25 medals in total. The 2022 Olympics also marked the end of the athletic careers for Shaun White, Madison Hubble, and Zachary Donahue, with speculations of Elena Mays Taylor and Jason Brown making the 22 Olympics their last one. The next Olympics is only 2 years away, which is going to be held in Paris, France, and the next Winter Olympics will be held in Milan, Italy in 2026. Now, recently there has been a lot of news covering the tensions between Russia and Ukraine. With Russia building up over 100,000 troops on Ukraine's border, there's a ton of speculation they may try to invade their neighboring country. Yesterday, Putin made his first move, issuing troops into 2 eastern Ukraine territories. Monday morning, Putin formally recognized both of these territories as part of Ukraine and now sent these troops in as, quote, peacekeeping troops. Biden has yet to release a statement on yesterday's actions, but over the past couple of weeks has said any effort Russia makes to invade Ukraine will come with some consequences. If anything further happens, you can check out our social medias at rockhill.media to find the information.
The second phase of the Gates of Prosper is quickly opening up. Braden Bedford looks into one business that is catching the attention of many around Prosper.
This right here, that's caramelized cheese.
Typical ordering pizza is a staple for families all around Prosper, but not all pizza is the same. For Shane Lambert, the idea of bringing a new style of pizza to Prosper was just a thought 5 years ago. But this idea was made into a reality back in 2021 when he opened Kyla Pie.
The idea behind starting Kyla Pie was we found our interest in Detroit-style pizza back in 2017. We spent the last 5 years researching, developing, working with some of the original founders of Detroit-style pizza, and we found Prosper to be just the perfect neighborhood area to launch a concept based upon Detroit-style pizza.
With the creation of a brand new restaurant comes years of planning. A major part of this planning process included research on the proper ingredients in order to create not only the best tasting, but also the freshest pizza in town.
First of all, we deal with a strictly organic flour. Everything is made from scratch and everything's made fresh daily. There's hours of daily morning preparation that go into getting the product that you're going to enjoy ready.
Their pizza isn't the only thing that differentiates them from other pizzerias around Prosper. They have made it a goal to create a cool, comfortable ambiance that is unlike any other restaurant.
Prosper needs something like this. They need more of this. I think there's a lot of families that they want to come out. They want to have a place where kids could be and welcome and have fun. And I think this is a good spot. It's a good location.
And the community has done amazing. They have really come through. We hear about, I've heard about a bunch of Facebook groups that talk about Kyla Pie, and we're just so excited for us to come out here. And so I think that greatly influenced everything.
With just a little amount of time being established, Kyla Pie has been able to create a new experience for the community, whether they're walking in or they're clocking in. For Hilltop News, I'm Braden Bedford.
Kyla Pie is open on the west side of Gates of Prosper from 4 to 9 on weekdays and 3 to 9 on weekends. This past week, we had many sports teams in action. Connor Fuxa is in studio to give you the recap on all those games as well as everything else Rock Hill sports. Connor?
Thank you, Kyla. We had many athletes compete in state meets this past weekend, and going to state in a sport is an accomplishment in itself. With a team runner-up and a second-place finish, the Sitz siblings shared their accomplishments together. Sarah Cronin reports.
Going to state in a sport is an accomplishment of its own. But for the Sitz family, sending 2 athletes in 2 sports to state makes this twice the accomplishment and means something more for each individual.
Going to state with my brother is going to be really cool this year because last year they were a week before us, so I didn't get to go and really watch him. So this year I get to go and I get to be one of his #1 supporters there at state.
While competing in separate sports on different sides of the natatorium, they both have the same goal as well as the same coach. Coach Zimmerman sees how their sibling relationship impacts the entire team and merges the two closer together.
You want your team to be like a little family. So getting those siblings on the team, it kind of helps set that tone and set that dynamic. And Luke and Bethany are kind of leaders on that, and the fact that they're incredibly supportive of each other. We can see Bethany standing around to watch Luke dive, and we can see Luke sticking around to watch Bethany swim, and kind of drawing that in. It makes this a really well-rounded program. It really connects the swimmers and the divers together.
When you have family with you, it's not like the same as having your teammates there who are successing with you. So having someone in your own family who you're closest with succeed, it's just an extra oh, I want to strive to be better because my family member's doing it. I want to do it now, and it's makes it a lot more fun and exciting.
With this close sibling mindset, the two work to constantly support one another. And although one is flipping through the air while the other is gliding between lanes, their relationship at home makes them stronger in the pool.
We have a really strong relationship outside of the water, so really when it comes to inside of the water, we really know how to push each other, and we really care about each other, so we're kind of there for each other at these things.
Whether it's at home or in the water, the Sitz siblings' relationship continues to get stronger with every splash made. For Hilltop News, I'm Sarah Cronin.
Not only did Luke and Bethany compete and place at state, but many other athletes placed as well. Starting off with dive saw Deacon Colbert finish in 6th and Derek Colbert play 7th. Moving on to swim, they started off their state competitions on a high note with Bethany Sitz, Kira Xanos, Julie Kirkman, and Cassidy Lazarin taking 4th place in the 200-meter medley relay. This success did not stop after that, with Jenna Kirkman placing third in the 50-meter freestyle and Kira Xanos placing third in the 100-meter breaststroke. With all of these high finishes and many more top 10 finishes, the girls swim team ended up placing second overall at state. What an amazing way for our swim and dive teams to finish off the season. Now, while swim is having their last meet of the year, track and field had their first meet this past Friday and Saturday at McKinney-Boyd. On Friday, Skyland Townsend placed first in long jump, Maurice Gray placed third in triple jump, and Reese Van Voris, Lindsay Tufel, Azaria Love, and Lauren Polk placed third in the 4x800 meter relay. Saturday, Rock Hill started off on a high note with Gavin Heckey placing first in pole vaulting, followed by Samara Williams, Layla Lawson, Skyland Townsend, and Kaya Shannon taking second in the 4x100 meter relay. Track continued their success the rest of the day, with Jordan Edwards placing first in both the 100 meter and 300 meter hurdles, Kaya Shannon placing first in the 100 meter dash, Nolan Macklin placing second in the 100 meter dash, and Amari Reitzel, Jordan Edwards, Shiloh Brooks, and Kyla Lewis finishing second in the 4x400 meter relay. Boys basketball had their final regular season game last Tuesday at home versus the Colony. They ended the regular season on a high note, winning that one 61-57. Big performance from Anthony Williams, once again leading the team in points with 24. They had Friday off, and they will return to action tonight for their first playoff game against Liberty. Boys soccer started off their week last Tuesday traveling out to Lovejoy. A strong performance on both sides of the field led our Blue Hawks past the Leopards 3-1. They continued their momentum Friday when they traveled out to Sherman. Pierce Doolin held on to a shutout the entire game, and goals from Mateo Cabrera and Anthony Reed gave Rock Hill the 2-0 win. Now, girls soccer also faced off against Lovejoy and Sherman this past week. They started off against Lovejoy at home on Tuesday. Our girls controlled that one the entire 90 minutes, starting off to a 4-0 lead and ending that game with a 4-1 win. Moving on to Friday, they played at Children's Health Stadium versus Sherman. Once again, they got up to a 4-0 lead, this time in the first half alone, with Avery Wheeler having a hat trick. Our Blue Hawks never took their foot off the pedal, scoring 5 more goals in the second half, bringing home that win 9-0. Finally, swim and dive were not the only sport that headed out to state. Wrestling this past weekend traveled down to Houston. Wrestling saw 3 podium finishes, with Brooke Weisberg placing 5th, Mason Marble placing 3rd, and Xavier Jukes taking home 2nd. Our very own Bronwyn Leiber got to travel down to Houston with the team. She caught up with Xavier after his big match.
I'm here with Xavier Jukes, weight class 145, who just finished the state championship match. What's going through your head right now? What can you tell us about it?
I mean, it sucks that I didn't get first, but, you know, I always have next season to get back at it.
Seeing that you're a senior, what are your plans to further your, are you continuing wrestling? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to continue wrestling in college. Also, we have freestyle Greco season coming up, so I'll be definitely participating in those seasons.
Do you plan on helping any of the younger underclassmen wrestlers at all? Do you plan on coming back? Do you have any messages to Coach Wynn or Coach Livingston that you would like to share?
I do plan on coming back and helping out the young wrestlers that are coming up in our program. And I just want to say a big thanks to our coaching staff, from Coach Livingston and Coach Wynn. Thank you for getting me here, getting me to the championship match. I'm very grateful to have you guys, and thank you.
You did an amazing job this tournament, and congratulations.
Thank you.
This past weekend, Brooke Weisberg made Rock Hill history as the first female wrestler to place at a state championship. However, her road to get there was difficult, having to overcome an injury mid-season. Bronwyn Leiber highlights her path to state.
From her injury just 2 months ago that put her on the sidelines to competing at the UIL state tournament, Brooke Weisberg is the first female athlete to place at state in wrestling.
I knew that I was going to get here. I've always dreamed about getting to state, but getting 5th and placing is never something I could have imagined.
One of the biggest obstacles on her path to state was trying to adapt after returning from her injury. Since the injury was in her shoulder when she returned, she had weaker upper body strength, forcing her to completely change her wrestling style.
This injury changed things for me as an athlete in ways like I couldn't do certain moves as well, so I had to switch from upper body to lower body, and I had to recover and make sure I was better.
Not only did her injury force her to change her style of wrestling, but it also forced her to change her weight class. While she was injured, Brooke had dropped enough weight to be moved down from the 128 weight class to the 119 weight class.
She was wrestling 128 weight class at the time. Well, she was a little bit lighter, and so then she decided to drop to 119. And this is it's a big deal to drop a weight class, especially whenever it's for her first time coming into districts and all that. So she hasn't wrestled these people before. She doesn't know that much about these wrestlers. And she really just showed up, and she knew what to do.
In her time in the 128 weight class, Brooke had never made it out of districts, let alone won a match in the district meet. Already in her short time in 119, Brooke has become district champion, was runner-up at regionals, and placed 5th at state. And with her only being a junior, there is even more to come next year.
I expect to see really big things from Brooke. I think that it's very exciting that she's our first female state placer, and I have full confidence that she'll be back here next year as a senior and on that podium at the top as a champion.
Brooke's plan for next season is to try to utilize this offseason to bulk back up to the 128 while continuing with the success she saw in 119. For Hilltop News, I'm Bronwyn Leiber.
Brooke is only a junior and looks to come back next season and repeat her historic year. Now, there are a lot of sports teams in action this next week, so here's a quick preview of all the games coming up.
Also, a lot of events going on around campus this week. Here's a quick preview on what's going on around the Hill.
Well, that's all we have for today's show. For Hilltop News, I'm Connor Fuxa.
I'm Kyla Lewis.
And I'm Brandon McVay. Keep rocking, Blue Hawks.